I guess just leave the door open.
Yeah. 15.
I apologize if I cough, everybody. So sick. Okay, let's go. Never mind. We don't have the intro.
All
There we
right.
go. Episode
8. We are back, you guys. Thank you for tuning in with us again and coming out and hanging out with us for the 8th episode of the Shot Callers podcast.
They not like us. They not like us.
Y'all missed us last week. We know. Oh no. So we just took we had a little off period last week. So we just took a little time to recharge and we are back. It's great to see you, Booey. How are you?
I am doing okay. Just trying to get over the sickness. And I got the wrong camera. So there we go. And me and my son, we're just trying to get over all the sickness, bro. Just been at the hospital.
Oh no.
He has bronchitis. I think we have to go back tonight, but it's all good.
Oh no.
We're here to work, bro.
Y'all send some prayers up for your Booey and little your Booey. Y'all, speaking of that, these allergies, it's just something about this time of year. People are just coming down with everything, so we have to just make sure that we stay up on our vitamin D as well as all of our other, meds to try to make sure we are in good health. But on the flip side, you all, we are back. It is great to be back in the Shot Callers podcast. We have a great show for you all tonight. So much has happened. I feel like, since we didn't have a podcast last week, I have so much that I want to talk about. But we'll try to keep it short tonight. But thank you all again for tuning in. If y'all are listening, please be sure to tap in and join the conversation live in the comments. We will be trying to interact with you all tonight. But I'm gonna go ahead and kick off the show, the real rundown with the topics that I didn't get to talk about last week that I want to talk about now. So, your boy, did you go see Sinners?
Let me switch the camera to me. Hold on, give me 1 second. Yes, that movie was amazing. And yes, I will listen to you more, and I will go ahead and go to a theater to watch the movie because that's the only way to watch that movie in IMAX. Sinners, wonderful movie. The cinematography, the directing,
Right.
the story, just the message, the after credit scenes, just everything was just amazing.
No spoilers. Yeah.
Acting, like just everything. It was just, man, the cinematography, the color were just so rich. Oh my gosh, that movie's so good.
No, that's what I loved about it too. So I'm glad that you went to the movie theaters to see it. If you've been tuning into our previous episodes, you know that me and your boo have been kind of like on the opposite ends of the spectrum because I love to go to the movie theaters for a good theatrical experience, and your boo is like, I'm gonna catch it on streaming at the house with the wife and kids. And so I'm glad.
But just me and my wife, we spent $100. But hey, it's all good. Go ahead.
At the movie theater.
Yeah, bro.
Y'all must
You
have
gotta
had
get popcorn. You gotta get the drinks. IMAX is like what, $20 each, so
That's
it's
true.
like 40.
Yeah, cause yeah.
I just got the popcorn and whatever is 25. You got popcorn and drink, 25.
That's true.
Candy,
Hey, it adds
nachos,
up.
$100, bro.
No, seriously, because I bought 2 tickets for the IMAX and it was $40, so I know exactly what you mean. But I did not do concessions, and so
Now you gotta have popcorn at the movie theater, bro.
you do. A lot
Extra,
of
extra butter, bro.
yeah, a lot of times when I go to the movie theaters, I like to get popcorn, but I do not get a big bucket. I be cheap on it, so I get me a little kid snack. You get a kid snack for like $8. It come with the popcorn, a little drink, and you get a little candy. Uh, and they do not judge me for being an adult getting a kids meal, but it's good because a lot of times, I don't know about you, but like if I get like a big bag of popcorn, I don't eat all the popcorn. And
Bro,
so
I eat all. I get the unlimited refills. So let's go back and get it.
you
I did send my wife back to get it because my hip's bad, so she missed that very first scene. So I had to like tell her what. It's my bad, but she said it was packed.
I need you to go back to see that, Brandy, because that first scene is what sets the tone. But it's a lot of people going on about Sinners, and it's so much people really diving and dissecting into it. If y'all want to hear more about that, check out a different podcast because we're not gonna dive into the themes of Sinners. But the cinematography of it was really great. They had a female DP. Her name is Autumn. Let me look it up real quick. I know her first name is Autumn. But anyway, she was like the first DP to ever shoot. The first female DP to ever shoot using the IMAX camera.
Yes.
And
And she handheld sometimes.
yeah,
Handheld that big, like, it's like 100 pounds.
yeah, they say it's like between 75 to 80, 75 to like 100 pounds, depending on like what lenses and stuff on it. And that one scene in Sinners, the one scene, the
Yes.
one scene,
The
yeah,
one scene,
that
the
was the
cultural
one, yeah.
throwback.
They
I got
did
you.
they shot that as like a Warner,
Really?
even though it wasn't like one shot. They put little like stitch cuts in it, but they shot it like a Warner, and so like, can you imagine carrying like trying to figure out how to even rig that to like have a big camera just move freely like that?
I think by that time they had those the motors or whatever. What's the robot arm?
The cranes,
Yeah, they probably use that to.
probably so. Let me see if it gave me my internet said well, but I'm gonna circle back around it. But anyway, shout out to her because she did an amazing job. When I watched Sinners, of course the acting was phenomenal, but we didn't expect nothing less of that. The cinematography was really nice though, and outside of the cinematography, the one thing that I enjoyed a lot about it was the score. I feel like it had
Oh
a really good
yes.
score, like especially with the element of it being blues and how like the guy who scored the movie, his name is Ludwig Grandison. He he just does so good. He scored Ryan Coogler's other movies, including like Creed and Black Panther 1 and 2. If you have not listened, y'all, I'm real big on movie scores, so I listen to a lot of movie scores when I'm working. But that Black Panther score and the Black Panther Wakanda Forever score, as well as Tenet, all of those are some phenomenal scores that he had the opportunity to score. And so it was interesting. I recently watched an interview with him and Ryan Coogler talking about how they broke down and made the score for Sinners, and really how they were trying to, incorporate some of the elements of the blues, which the film is centered around, into the movie itself. And so, yeah, I think that's pretty cool. Like trying to figure out, it's always cool from a filmmaker's perspective, trying to dive in and figure out like the musical tones of the film.
Exactly, exactly. And just shout out to my boy Adam Taylor, one of the best rappers in Pensacola, probably in the whole area. He get bar for bar. He spits mad bars. And also, Anxiety Issues podcast is coming back. We just have to get everything together with Adam Taylor, Boneface, produced by Yabui. So
Hey.
that'll be coming soon too.
And he said in the comments, the music is better in the theaters. I agree. Jurassic Park in the theaters is crazy. That's that, and
Yeah.
they have a new Jurassic Park movie coming out soon too.
All right, franchises, go.
Right. I didn't see the last one though, but I do hope to see this new one. It looks pretty good.
I seen the original one in the movie, so that's how old I am. First one.
I'm just playing. Yeah, I don't, I don't remember. I might have seen it in theaters, but I don't. Um, but no, that's what's up, bro. It's out. Like I said, it's always good. But thinking about and talking about music, it leads me into us introducing our special guest for the podcast tonight, Mr. Q.
Hey, how was everybody?
They not like us. They not like us.
We are doing well. How are you today?
I'm pretty good. How are you?
Doing well. So thank you for coming out tonight and joining us on the Shot Callers podcast, where we break down everything cinema and more. And speaking of, we kind of had a conversation leading into your interview about music, right?
Right.
And you are a music genius. So if you would just tell the people a little bit about yourself before we get into tonight's conversation.
All right. Well, Q stands for Quintarius. I'm originally from Alabama. One of my many talents is I play instruments. 12.
What?
Yeah, I play 12 instruments.
Hold on.
One, my I grabbed that inspiration from cartoon. Yeah. So I'm a musician. I'm an author. I'm a teacher. I'm a poet. I'm a writer. So yeah.
It's a renaissance, man. You do everything. That's what's up.
So 12 instruments.
Mhm.
You said that so nonchalantly.
Yeah.
I play 12 instruments.
What did you start with?
The first instrument for me, it was the flute because it's I was just intrigued by the sound of it. And then when I got to middle school, it was like, boys don't play flutes. You have to play something else. And so I switched over to tuba. Loved it. Got bored. Went to baritone. It was great. Got bored. Went to bass clarinet, regular clarinet. Went over to alto sax, soprano
That's all the
sax,
wind instruments. That's okay.
tenor sax. Got bored with that. Tiptoed back over into brass. Picked up the trumpet a little bit.
What?
Uh, then navigated my way to strings. So cello and acoustic guitar. So
That's
So y'all, Quintarius is, or Mr. Q, as he is known now, is being very humble about his approach to talking about his instruments. This guy, if you know him, he is a musical extraordinaire. I have known him for quite some time now, and we've had the opportunity to work together and collaborate on a lot of different projects. He has had the opportunity to score a couple of my short films, and so in tonight's podcast, we'll go into more detail, and I have some behind the scenes stuff, and we'll talk about the process of
oh boy,
breaking down the score. But also, let's just talk more about you real quick.
Okay.
Q. So when you think about like music and film,
Mhm.
why do you think music is so important to film?
Oh, it moves the story along. If you don't have the proper music, it's not going to sell the story. It's going to collide with the vision. So anytime you have visuals, you need the correct audio that goes with it. It's like looking at a large man and he opens his mouth to speak, but his voice is high pitched. It's like, wait a minute, what's going on?
mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So it's like that. It's like yin and yang. It goes together.
That's true. Yeah, but how do you feel about music and film?
I think it's probably the most important thing. You can have bad visuals, but if you have the right scoring and the right sound, that can push it through like you intended. Especially to evoke any kind of emotion, you need the right music. You need that'll just uh, sets up the foundation for that scene. I think it's the most vital thing. It's a lot more vital than the actual visual itself. You know?
Yeah, that's how I feel too, and I feel like for me as a filmmaker and even as a someone who watches films, I felt this way before I became a filmmaker, but even more so now as a filmmaker. Like music is what really pulls the emotion. Because from like making film and editing film, like I might shoot something what I consider a good scene, and it's a good scene, or it might be like a good scene, but it just it's bland. That's a great analogy. Like it's like
Hmm.
cooking a meal without music sometimes is bland. But the music and it's like the seasoning. So you put the
Hmm.
seasoning on it
And
and
you
you
do
get the full
such a great
flavor.
job at putting music, putting all the music that you do, even in peppermint
The
lady,
peppermint lady,
the
yeah.
peppermint lady, the first episode. Just the scoring are just amazing, bro. Bravo to you, that man.
Thank you.
It
Thank you.
really, I mean, it gets you in a lot of suspense, and you're trying to anticipate what's going on because of the scoring. You know.
That's
You know,
true.
along with the great acting and and what was written. But yeah,
Thank you. Shameless plug, real quick. So, you all, if you did not know, I have a mini web series that recently dropped this past week on YouTube under Four Studios, FORC3 Studios on YouTube, called The Peppermint Lady. It's a mini web series, a 7-part series, horror thriller. And we dropped our first episode this past week. So if you have not seen it, be sure to go look it up. It's under The Peppermint Lady. All new episodes drop on Sunday at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But coming back to Q, right? So Q helped me score several of my films, right? Um, he didn't help me score The Peppermint Lady, but I did hit him up for advice with the music selections for The Peppermint Lady. I feel like he'll tell you everything musically that I have a question about, and I question everything. I do hit him up. I think a lot of people who are like in my inner circle recently are realizing that I'm a overanalyzer. And so I'm very, which I don't consider that, but I'm very specific with details. And
yes,
so,
you are.
and so,
Meticulous is the word.
yeah, that's the word.
Yeah.
I went blank mine. I appreciate
Hmm.
that. And so, no, uh, but it really, you have to be that way because it helps to build the whole picture along. But when you
That's
think,
true.
but yeah, but I'm trying to think. The first movie that I came to you and asked you about musically, do you remember?
Is it that one where you had the behind the scenes, or is that something different? That was newer.
I think that's the first one we did, but I was trying to figure out. Before that, I asked him, like I said,
It was the one with Amoria.
Love Me 6 Feet Away.
No, it was way before that.
Oh, with the wig.
With the wig.
Terrible. You
But
also,
that's okay.
I made some horrible films, y'all, which are actually locked away in the vault, and that was so funny. My first film ever was called Anguish, and Q helped me do the music for that. And don't look it up on YouTube because you won't be able to find it.
Did
It,
you remove
I hope so.
it? I'm gonna go
No,
look.
but like talking about music and film too. Do y'all
Mhm.
have like a certain movie that y'all have seen, or even you, Yabui, if anyone is in the comments, do y'all have a certain movie that y'all watch and y'all just think the music is just so good that the scoring is really good that stands out to y'all,
It's
or a scene?
it's so many. Um, to know music, you have to know all genres. That's the thing. Some people get fixated on one genre of music. Um, I know one of the biggest inspirations for me, Titanic was one. The music
Mm.
was phenomenal. And then you have Bodyguard. And then to go
Mm.
back a little further, um, the cartoons.
Oh yeah.
That's what made me want to be a musician was the cartoons. You have Bugs Bunny, how it would move the story along. You have Barbara of Seville, which was featured in it, a lot of Beethoven, a lot of Bach. I know I'm going into my musical roots now. And then, but on the flip side, it introduced so many elements of jazz. It introduced so many elements of blues and how you can use that to move the story along. And we didn't even realize that because we were kids.
Hmm.
And it's like, this is this is influential. And that's why so many of us can't do things without having music playing in one ear or music is playing somewhere because it offers us peace, it gives us clarity, it helps us think better, helps us see better. But Bodyguard, Titanic, even The Wizard of Oz, when I hear those strings, so just to hear that, I'm like, I wouldn't have put that with a witch. That was too majestic for a witch. I would have made it darker. Harry Potter, anything Warner Brothers. You hear They layer the music. They do the strings. They love strings. They kind of sleep on the brass instruments a little bit, but they love strings. So
So I have a question for you all, right?
mhm.
Because I did some digging and I didn't know myself. Do y'all know the difference between a score and a soundtrack?
Tell me what you say.
Because like a lot of times it'd be like like we'd be like, oh, the score for that movie was so good, or we'd be like, the soundtrack for that movie was so good, and I was like, what's the difference between the two, right? And so I looked it up. So a score is defined as the original
Mental.
instrumental music
Hmm.
written to match the film's mood and pacing, right? Uh, and the soundtrack of a movie is a collection of songs licensed to use in the film, right? So score, when we talk about score, it's gonna be the instrumental music written to match the film's mood. And the soundtrack is a collection of songs, usually by artists or other people, licensed to use in the film. So that makes sense. So like
Yeah.
90s, 2000s was the era known for soundtracks, where it was like a collection of songs from different
Mhm.
artists, released to kind of go along with the movie's theme.
Right.
Um, but the score is like, yeah, all of the music that is like instrumentally written for the film.
Yeah. When you think of score, you have to think of it as reading an actual music score. And I know you're a musician as well. So
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I
what do you play?
I play the piano and I play the trombone.
And
Mhm.
I'm so artistically. I'm talking like kid. When did you guys get into music? When did you start playing? Because I want to get my son, my 3-year old, to start getting into music. Because I'm so bad. I can't do any of that stuff.
So I'm gonna let you go first.
You want to let me go first?
No, I'm
When
sorry to interrupt the
no,
question,
Oh
but
no no.
when did I get into music?
yes, when did you get into music and like what inspired you and what just kept you going?
I was always fascinated with sound.
Okay,
Because
cartoons. Okay.
yeah, cartoons, but then I would see people and they'd be like these different heights and their voices were so different. Um, my so my dad's a little man, but his voice is in the rafters, especially in the morning. I'm like, whoa, why does it do that? And then I had my mom, who her voice could get down there too. But um, I hope she's not watching. I'm not gonna hear the end of that. But I would notice it would switch and then it'd be smooth as silk. I'm like, hmm. So I became fascinated with sound probably by Head Start. And wind chimes. I used to listen to wind chimes. I like wind chimes. That intrigued, that jump started me. But I knew I wanted to play music by the first grade.
Oh my gosh,
I knew I wanted to play it.
that's amazing.
Yeah.
Calvo.
So for me, I started playing music in elementary school, middle school, somewhere around there. So, funny story enough, I wanted to learn how to play the guitar, and I never learned how to play the guitar, you all. But my mom at the time was starting to take piano lessons, and so her teacher became my teacher, and I took piano lessons for quite some time. And the reason why I started taking piano lessons because they were like, in order to play the guitar, you gotta learn how to play the piano first to know how to like know chords and stuff. And sadly, I never learned how to play the guitar. I'm still a little upset about that. But then when I got into middle school, I got in the band. I wanted to play both instruments I play. I ended up having to play because I wanted to play something else. And
Mm-hmm.
so I wanted to actually play when I got in the band the saxophone, but my band teacher was like, "No, you playing the trombone." And so I ended up playing the trombone, and I stuck with it for years, up until college. And yeah, it's it kind of plays into everything that I don't play much now, but I feel like because I played I am more musically inclined with trying to uh put things together for my different projects, you know. So talking about putting things together for my different projects, right? So Q,
Hmm.
with working in film and making music for film,
Hmm.
like I said, I know because you've worked with me on it. But what would you say from your perspective is your process to adding music to a score?
Oh, all right. So the first thing I need to see is the visual. Now, depending on what genre the movie is, I need to get a feel for it. So I need to feel the acting. I need to hear the inflections. I need to hear the tone of voice because instruments mimic the timbre of your voice. When you think of a low sound, you're going to think of a cello, a baritone, you're going to think of a tuba. So I need the instrument to complement the voice. So I need to get a feel for it. And again, depending on the genre, let's start layering it. So the first thing I do is come up with a concept melody. Um, and I know in your film, I it was just a line that says she's no angel. And so I make the cello mimic that just in the sound of an instrument. And it does it repeatedly. So it's a reoccurring theme. So after that, we need a bass line. So we have the melody or the concept of a melody. Now let's do the bass line because we can fill in everything else. So we do the bass line. So melody, bass line. Those are the two things I go with. And then I start filling in the inner voices. So that's going to be your upper woodwind instruments, flute, piccolo, which the piccolo worked me out. Um, the clarinet. Okay, let's add the trumpet in. Let's add in the saxophones. But the main thing you need to do is establish a melody and then your bass line. So that's what I do. Melody and bass line first. Anytime I write, and I've written in high school. I wrote music in high school, and they actually still play it.
Mm.
Shout out to Charles Henderson High School, Blue Machine.
So I was no, I love everything you said. I want to piggyback on that because I want to like talk about and show some examples of how we've kind of approached that together for the film and stuff. But before
Mhm.
doing that, I noticed that we had several comments from Clexton Middleton.
Yes, all right, Klex.
All right, Clexton said a true artist is usually his greatest critique. That's true. There is nothing wrong with that. We have to have real people on our team to check us on how hard we are on ourselves. And then he also said Drumline's parody of Flight of the Bumblebee put me in the mode to listen to the scoring in that entire movie. I can get that. I can see that. I have
Hmm.
not listened to that score, but I have to check that out. And he said it really took me there. This is precisely what I'm talking about with that movie. And then Ethan Middleton, I need you to chime in. Oh, he was tagging
Yeah.
Ethan. I hear the bass line first. It's always percussion that drives me.
And yeah, he and his son, he's the tenor. His son is actually the baritone
Mm.
when it comes down to singing. And it's funny because Ethan isn't a large guy like me, so you wouldn't expect for his voice to be as deep as it is. But he's a walking cello, and that's just facts. His dad is a walking tenor sax.
Wow.
So
Have, have to have them come on and perform one day then.
they will just let him know.
Yeah. So, I know like with us working on our films, right? So for me,
Mhm.
uh, even getting to the point where I wanted to like bring in a music composer, right? Because starting off in film, I was like, let me just find some copyright free music and just kind of like find stuff to tailor it, right? But a couple years ago, I did a short film, and you all feel free to go. Well, don't feel free. Go check it out. It's on YouTube. It's called The Proof. It is also, you can find it under the Four Studios YouTube page. Go on there and watch it. I did a proof of concept film about another upcoming film that I have coming up. It's a horror thriller. I wouldn't really say the truth is a horror, but it is like a horror film, short film, kind of centered around the subject of Bloody Mary. Not gonna say her name 3 times right now.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but making this film, I wanted to really add in the element of like bringing in a music composer for it because like musically, I just had a different thought process for it. Right. I
Right.
don't even know how I got to it. I was just thinking like, for this film, I want to use instruments that make you feel good, but play them in
Ugh.
a way that would be more suspenseful and add an element of horror, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when I hit Q up about it and he was like, "This is the craziest thing I ever heard. Like, why would you want to ever in your life do something like that?" And that is the nicest way of him saying it. He didn't.
Mm-hmm.
He said a whole bunch of probably cuss words
I
to
did.
me. But I was just like, no, like I want it to be like I want to use like jazz instruments. I want to use like saxophones. I want to use like a clarinet and a flute and strings. But I want to like construct a good score to match these scenes in a way that where like usually when you hear these instruments, you are very calm or soothing. Like you listen to these instruments and the instrumentations of them to like relax yourself. But I want to take that and flip it and make it in a way that like it adds suspense and it really heightens the scenes. And so I kind of took that first thing to Q, and then also when I'm working with music as a director, and even like working with scenes and even not only like from a composer standpoint, but even with
Mm-hmm.
like talent, I have music in my head. So a lot of times when I'm writing scripts, I write scripts or I work on scripts listening to like film scores, and so I have like an idea in my head. And so when I reached out to Q about it, I sent him several different samples of like music that I
Yeah.
had heard. Some of them was from like clips from like Black Panther. Some of them was clips from like Batman.
Batman, Conjuring, The Woman in Black,
Oh yeah, I love the
Batman, the
one.
first one, Prince.
mm. The Dark Knight.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
it was
that too.
yeah.
Okay.
And then Batman 2 Returns.
Mm.
But yeah, I forgot about the Woman in Black. You all that
Amazing sound.
it is, and then
Start to finish.
I think like even Insidious was another one.
Yes.
So like I had like heard like specific songs from all different these different soundtracks because I listen to a lot, like I said, movie scores and stuff. And so I sent him samples. So I like specifically like different areas where I was like, all right, or I would like we would get together and I'll play it for him. And so I'll play this one song. Unfortunately, we can't play it because of license issues on the podcast. But I would play like a song, and it might have like a I don't know some kind of weird noise, and I'd be like, I like this.
I'm not laughing, I promise.
And he would be like, okay. And he would just mentally make notes of it. And we would just kind of take those bits and pieces. But I think like even when we came together, the hardest part was and not only like the first time, but the second times too, is always I think the hardest part that we always have is trying to find a melody, right? Um
Yeah.
and so like one day I just had a dream and then I just had a dream like it's like Mm, 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 mm. And so I took it to Q and I was like, I have this like this I don't know, I had a dream about it. And he was like, okay, let's build on it. And so we builded on it. And one thing when you watch movies, right, it's like always for like big movies and stuff, it's like a reoccurring melody that like is attached to the film.
Like
Um,
Michael Myers.
Yeah, like Michael Myers or like yeah, like Michael Myers, Harry Potter, like all of them have
Hmm.
like the main theme, but then you have like different
Darth Vader.
yeah, Darth Vader's too.
Yeah.
Uh you have uh different arrangements of the same thing that kind of like repeat throughout,
Mhm.
in different variations. And so we wanted to like really kind of approach that with the making of the score for the proof. And so I'm gonna show y'all some I don't know.
This is the clips where I was crazy.
I'm gonna show y'all a clip. I'm gonna
Let
see
me
if I, yeah. Hold on real
okay.
quick. So first I'm going to see if I can actually play the clip so you all can actually see it in full time, and then we'll go to like behind the scenes of making of it.
As soon as you find it, open it up, then I'll switch the
Okay.
camera.
Yeah. But it's such a fun time, you all, making the scoring for films and stuff. I believe it's right here. Oh, hold on one moment. You said what now? All right, grab them. Mhm. I don't know. All right, but yeah, so in the scene that you are about to see or listen to, depending on if you're watching us live or listening to us live on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, or listening to us on the go through Apple Music or podcast, is a scene from a clip from The Proof, which you can watch live on YouTube under the Force Studios YouTube channel. All right, I'm gonna press play now. We'll just play it from right here.
Actually died.
Well, I can remember this girl I went to elementary school with died from doing it. Now, from what I remember, her and some of her other family members did it. But she was the only one who ended up dying, though.
Can y'all hear it in the comments? Let me know if y'all can hear it in the comments.
Y'all can't be serious. Y'all know that was just some stupid tale our parents used to tell us back in the day to scare us. Stuff we could tell our kids now.
All right, y'all let us
This
know if you
ain't
can hear
real.
it in the comments. We might
Y'all
be having some
don't even
technical
believe it.
problems.
Well, look in the mirror and say it then if you bad.
Nah, not in my house. Don't even say her name here.
I can't believe this. Y'all uppity Negroes really scared to call out the name Bloody Mary?
Hey man, chill out with that.
Bloody Mary.
Hey man, I ain't playing with
Bloody
you.
Mary. Bloody.
Daddy, who's Bloody Mary?
Baby girl, what are you doing out of your room? You know you're not supposed to come out of your room when Daddy has company. We were just having grown people talk. That's all.
I know, Daddy, but I had to go to the restroom and heard you yelling. I was just checking on you.
Don't worry. Me and your dad is good. But to answer your question, she's a princess that lives in your mirror. And if you look and repeat her name, she'll appear to you.
Don't believe Uncle Sean. He's just joking. Now, let's get you back in your room and to bed. It's late. Man, don't you try that mess ever again in my house. Especially with my daughter here.
What would possess you to say something like that? She is a child.
All right, so that's just a little insert from the from the film, you all. But you all were able to hear like the music in the background. So like the music really moved the scene. Shout out to the actors in the scene. We saw Gene Alexander, Charles Gibson, and Jamequa White as well as Anaya Young. So
And
and
Carter G.
oh yeah, we did see Carter J at the start. Yeah,
Yeah.
Carter J. Um, as well as Nicole Richard Evans. It's an all-star cast, you all. Go check it out. It's
So
such a
did I
good
give him
film.
another? Did I give him another letter to his name? Did
Who?
I say G? Is it J? It's Carter J, right?
Yeah,
Oh Jesus, I said.
I think it's the actual like letter to his. I don't
Oh,
know. Don't
y'all
give
know
me the
how
line.
I am.
Shout out to Carter J. But no, so all of what you all heard in the background of that clip was like literally music that we made from scratch. Um, and so you kind of heard like the reoccurring theme of the doom 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 doom. And so me and Q, we kind of sat down, we found it, and all of those instruments. We used what about 7 different instruments when making the score for the proof, right? I remember we used the piccolo,
Piccolo, flute,
the clarinet,
clarinet,
the cello,
tenor sax, cello, upright bass.
that rain stick.
Yeah, my rain stick and hand drum.
Dang, that's a lot. So,
Yeah,
just
a
want to have a
djembe.
quick question. The process, if you were to calculate the man hours from coming up with the concept for the music, laying it down, and then putting it in the edit, the final edit, how many man hours? That seems like a lot.
I feel like it wasn't that much. Like a couple weeks, maybe a week.
Yeah. Honestly, that part wasn't difficult.
Nah, it wasn't. So what we ended up doing was we record once we found the actual melody and Q played it. I think we did the main melody on the bass, right? Um,
Cello.
cello on the cello. Sorry. We just started layering it, and so we rewatched the scene and replayed it. So like you'll be able to see the setup. So I showed I had like the scene playing on my laptop, and then we would record it, and I was just recording it using like a little $20 mic from Amazon uh into my iPad. And sometimes I recorded it straight into the MacBook using voice notes. That's how
Oh, no,
crazy.
voice notes is everything. I love voice notes.
Yeah, we you
It
know,
was
this was our
definitely
first one. We didn't know
voice
what we were doing, so we were recording straight into either like iPad or iPhone using voice notes, and we would just take each instrument and like label it, and then after that we put it into a software and layered it all together like from start to end, and
Oh, that's dope though. You can customize your scoring.
yeah.
Because like me, I have to go to Epidemic Sound. I just have to just listen and try to just fit it, round peg in the square hole or whatever. But you actually get to customize exactly what you want. That's amazing.
I will say too, like we broke it down also with scenes. So like even though it's a short film, we broke it down into like little sections of scenes, and then we started giving it names. I don't even remember any of the names we had.
Yeah, it depended on the melody or the instrument, whatever instrument was the lead.
Mhm.
Like what they heard that that she's no princess.
She's no princess. Yeah, and so yeah, we just kind of like started doing that and kind of tailoring it to. Hold on, I do have a clip of us actually behind the scenes too, so you all can kind of see that as well.
See how crazy I am.
All right, I got. Oh yeah, that's cool. All right.
I don't think it's too bad.
I mean a little bit, but it's good. We good. All right, so I got the mouse. Ibui, I think you still got the mouse. All right, so hold on one moment for me, peeps. Thank y'all for tuning in to the comments. So while I'm pulling this up, we'll be looking at the comments. Marcus Brown said, "This is great insight." Shout out to Marcus.
Yes, GGIB.
Clexton said, can hear it. Wait, Q. Is Q playing the cello?
Yes, Clex, that was me.
Clexton said, "Thought I heard a bassoon."
I just made it mimic the sound of one.
All right. right. So, um, all right, I airdropped it to you, your boy. Where would it go? My phone. All right, hold on. It said it. All right, we are currently looking for the behind the scenes. Um,
Yeah, the behind the scenes was interesting. I wasn't so nice because we started when it was sun outside, and by the time we finished,
we did not start when the sun
yes,
was
we
outside.
did. The sun was out, and we finished around 11. Yeah, p.m.
But I will say the process of finding the music takes time. It was a lot of trial and error, um, from both parts. Q's looking at me that way because as a director, you like what you like. You know what you're looking for, and like I said, it was very collaborative. Of what we were working on, and so with that being said, it was a lot of trial and error.
As a musician, you know what works. You know what sound good. You know what doesn't.
Exactly. Like when people when I'm editing things and
Hmm.
people come in, oh, I want to edit this way, that way. I'll have it all edited and set. I'm like, it looks good like this. They'll
Right.
make me delete that. They'll make me delete that edit and re-edit their way. And they're like, oh, I like the your way. And I have to reverse it, man.
Yeah, it's
Yes,
just
I understand. I understand. You know exactly what needs to go here and there, what sounds good, looks good, and but he's meticulous, so it's all
Mhm.
good.
All right, so side note, while I'm doing this, because I can't find. I think I might have sent it to your iPhone, your boo, instead of your MacBook.
Might hurt right there.
You said what? Oh, right
Hold
here.
on. Oh yeah, go
Yeah.
ahead. Accept.
All right. Yeah. Hit accept. Save to downloads.
Set it right there. Let's try this.
All right. So while that is downloading, um, I think we have it here, right here. All right.
Mhm.
So I'm gonna turn the control back over to you, your buoy.
Over.
All right. All right. So what I'm about to play you all is just behind the scenes, a little clip of us working behind the scenes, really trying to find the music for the proof. And this is, like I said, a film that I was able to write and direct. Uh, oh, we're having a little difficulties
Just
behind
a
the
little
scenes.
technical. That's all right.
But you all be able to watch it and see the creative process behind the scenes.
Especially with my daughter. Who said she would say something like that? She is my child.
Going into like the proof, I just knew I wanted. This is my first time working and building a score from the ground up, and so I knew I wanted, because of Q's musical ability, I wanted him to score it for me. So I went it to him. The hardest part for us, I won't say the hardest, but the challenging part for us was just trying to find a melody. I love movies, I love musical scores, so I had like a handful of scores that I had, and just songs outside of musical scores that I was inspired by, that really inspired the score for the Proof and Mirror the series. And so I sent him like different excerpts, and I sent him them songs. From that, like we were able to kind of like piece together and grab an actual like concept. Proof part two.
Intense. It was everything but mellow and beautiful like the clarinet. See?
Tell us about your work thus far on the proof.
Um, what I've done thus far is kind of add the background music to everything. We came up with personal nicknames for certain snippets of everything. So yeah, it works.
Proof part two. Starting from the top.
Yeah,
I
just
was
go right into the
also
recording.
yeah, and I had a paint pole.
And the same paint pose.
The same paint pole, yeah. All right, so I think that's it.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so that you all is a behind the scenes making, or what you all just heard and listened to was behind the scenes making of the music for the proof. Be sure to go check that out on YouTube under Four Studios and watch it and kind of be able to experience it. But we have here with us today in the Shot Caller studio, Mr. Q, who is a extraordinary musician of 12 or more instruments, as he
Thank you.
recently stated. And he was also the music composer for The Proof. And so, yeah, that you all kind of just gave you a little bit more look into like our creative process. But yeah, your boy, you pointed out earlier, uh, us using that paint pole to kind of hold our $20 mic. So, with that being said, you all, I preach on the podcast a lot about really using the resources that you have to make something incredible. Like, a lot of people feel like like I have to go, to a major recording studio or somewhere, just a studio in general to like make some good stuff. And I will say, like, even from like outside of being like a musical artist, but us trying to build and make a score, like we did a lot of that. A lot of that recording for the proof was recorded in Q's classroom at the time, and in the hallway of the classroom. So, but we used literally, like I said, voice notes from iPad. Well, I didn't have an iPad at the time. We used voice notes from my cell phone and from my MacBook and a $20 mic. And what we did was we went through and recorded like each different the song from each different instruments. I wouldn't say instruments perspective, but like each different instruments. What's the word I'm looking for?
I'm trying to figure out where you're trying to go with sound.
So
Each
yeah,
different,
we
each
use
every instrument had a theme.
yeah.
Oh,
And then we just layered it on top of each other. Uh, in DaVinci, we just used DaVinci as the editing, and added a little reverb on certain little sections. But basically, what I'm saying is like we used the bare minimum to achieve something great, and so that is one thing that we really love to preach. Uh, each episode is really just trying to find and using what you have to make something dynamic.
Yeah, I agree. Um, it didn't require a professional brand. instrument. It didn't require a Stradivarius cello. You know, it just required talent. And that's the thing. That's what's missing nowadays. Talent. Um, they're not really celebrating that in schools. They're getting rid of art. They're getting rid of music programs. That's the creative outlet. You know, some of your greatest thinkers were musicians or were artists, and they're getting rid of that. And we don't need that. But don't want to get on my soapbox because I'm a teacher. But I will say that using the resources that are around you, if you have to use voice notes, use it. You can edit it to sound great. If you have to record on your iPhone, do it. Use that cinematic camera. I use it when I'm taking dramatic pictures, and I want a video clip and add a Billie Eilish song on it or something. I don't know. I have a tendency to do that. Don't judge me, but do it.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. And when you said that, I thought about you too, your boy. When you brought up earlier me talking about the peppermint lady,
Hmm.
and so you watched the first episode, didn't you?
Yeah, of course.
And so in the peppermint lady is a whole bunch of like whispers.
Yes.
So funny story about that, and y'all go check out the Peppermint Lady. I'm just plugging everything in this episode. But in the Peppermint Lady, where the whispers are at, I originally was going to put a tune like of a whistle or like have Q kind of like play a melody for me, but I couldn't figure it out. And so to kind of it's a like suspense type thing. The film or the series. And so to add suspense, I was like, what is creepier than someone whistling a tune or like playing a tune? I'm like whispering. So what I did was I took my cell phone out and went to my voice notes and I just started whispering like
Oh, okay, 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 okay.
and then I just layered it like over like three different times. So it just sounded like a whole bunch of different like weird whispers. But yeah, just a certain way, I feel like you just have to be kind of like creative and interesting to when building the score. And so, yeah, we've kind of been talking, right? But I want to bring you into the conversation a little bit more, um, because you too are a filmmaker and a extraordinary editor for films, right? Uh, and being someone who has, had the opportunity to edit and shoot multiple short films and feature length films, right? How do you approach finding music for your films?
I just vibe out, and drive, think about the scene, and just keep going. It just comes to me because I'm not talented as y'all where I can just
No, no,
create
no,
music.
no,
But
nah.
but sometimes, like when we did It's Clinical, I mean, it just came to me. I just thought of like the Goody Mob song, and I thought a couple different things there. So I just vibe out. Like when I do those hype videos for Nights for Football.
I often say,
The,
yeah, let's not sleep on those because those videos
yeah.
you find and curate the music for those perfectly.
Oh yeah, I take Logic, I break it down into stems, and then I try to find like hard to find remixes. Then I take the little beats and I try to put it all together along with some sound design. But yeah, normally I just vibe out for like a week and just listen and listen and listen, keep listening to music. Then I play the scene and I kind of listen to something, see if it vibes out. If not, then you know.
No, I think that so. You brought up two things I want you to kind of elaborate a little bit more on, right? Just for the listeners and the viewers, right? So
Hmm.
you use Logic, right? Because I know you've kind of showed me a breakdown of like Logic and how you can use it to break down stems. So for the people, can you explain and tell us what stems are and what Logic is?
Logic is basically, I guess, a music DAW. I don't know, but then you just drag the track into there, hit the little AI thing I always use, and then it breaks it down into like the vocals, and then the instrumental. But not only just the instrumental, breaks it down to the little instruments, the drums, the horns, sax, whatever instruments are in there. It'll give you like all the tracks, just like in 20 seconds.
That's pretty cool, y'all. So to summarize what Ibu just said, because when he showed it to me, it was just amazing to see. Like with the program Logic, you can take a regular song and put it down in there, and through AI generating the track, like you can break it down and take stems, which are like the different parts. What he was saying, it's like the drum tracks or like the different instruments used to make the song, and just if you want to use like a certain piece of it and break it down.
Okay, let's do a tech talk for today. Let's go.
Let's
go
go
tech
for
talk
it.
with Logic.
You know what? Actually, and I wonder too. Like, I want you to show the people because I think that'd be pretty cool to see, and I want to see it myself. Um, but I wonder if that's what like sound engineering use. Uh, am I frozen? All right, now I think I'm back. I think that's what like I wonder if that's what like sound engineering use when they like sample tracks, right? Maybe.
I mean, it could be. Majority of the time, they find the inspiration in just about anything. So it may be just like with Timbaland and Missy Elliott. You know, who would have ever thought to put the sound of a baby gooing and gawing?
Oh yeah, Aaliyah.
Yeah, so yeah, it's just anything that you hear. Missy Elliott is very innovative as well when it comes down to adding sound. So
That's true. That's true. So what, from a music standpoint, right?
mhm.
What would you say is your favorite song that I'm trying to figure out how I would like to ask the question. So what would be your favorite song that you like musically that has vocals on it that you like more so with the instrumentation of the song?
Mm. um, there's several, but the one that stands out in the top of my mind is "Beginnings Make Me Smile" by Chicago, and that's a group from the '70s. Um, of course, they have their smooth vocals, but they use real live instruments. And as you know, everything starts to fade out, the instruments are still going. You hear the horns, you hear the rhythm section. Um, you can hear that. So I've a big fan of that group. And beyond them, it's kind of hard to say. It would have to be either Mariah Carey or Boys the Men. Um, and honestly, if you think about it, they're each other's equivalent because Mariah's vocal layering. That's what made me a huge fan of hers. Because if you listen to her songs without the music, that's another world. There's so many hidden parts, so many hidden melodies. And Boys to Men, I mean, they give you the split harmony.
Mhm.
So it's to the point where they don't need that many instruments because their voices can do it.
Yeah, I mean when you think about Boys to Men, you think about just yeah, a lot of tracks that are just acapella. You know?
Because they have the voice types in the vocal range. You know, they have someone that can sub for the soprano, the alto, the tenor, the bari, the bass if needed. Um, Again, same with Mariah. That's it's a little different if I mention Whitney. Whitney's voice is straightforward, it's strong. You don't need that much to move it. Because it's solid vocals. It's a punch. It's a gut punch. So it's like, okay, we know what she's about to do. We know she's about to bring it. Um, I'm trying to think of another song that just has so
So
That's why so much music now just
there's
relies
so
on
many.
production now. So all the production now. I mean, there's no really no voices out there that
Mhm.
carry the songs. Everything's about production now. So yeah,
Mhm.
like Whitney, man, play her voice forever.
all right, so I have a question, bringing it back to cinema though. So what would be your favorite soundtrack song? I want to ask all of y'all this. Like, what's your favorite? Like, what's the number one soundtrack song that comes out to mind to y'all? And if you're in the comments, you can put that in there as well. Oh, we got some people in the comments too, y'all. All right.
That's my cousin. That's how you say her name.
What's good?
I think one of my
That's
favorite
fine.
soundtrack songs is
Diamond.
Rick James, Mary Jane.
Mary Jane.
I mean that fits Friday
Was that a
perfect.
soundtrack song?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What song?
And Friday.
Oh shoot, sure
Mary
was. Yeah.
Jane.
Dang, I forgot about that.
I'm sentimental, so I'm afraid to speak.
Hold on. Well, while you think about that, let's come to the comments too. All right, Clexa said the tool is the tool. We the people discredit the tools instead of just using what we got to get what we want. It's the iPhone versus Droid argument all over again. That what really matters is what the artist puts in. Also, shout out to Diamond. I use what I got until I get where I need to be to upgrade it. I get that. Ashley Williams said, "Hey Q."
Hey,
Jeff
so
said,
far.
"Q." Frank said, "Facts." And Clexa said, "Why did I miss Michael?" Which is why I miss Michael McCrary. Who is Michael McCrary, y'all?
Look at it.
I mean, you just tell me. I'm gonna look it up. All right, but back to your favorite all time, like the song that sticks out to you when you think about soundtracks, or the first, because it don't necessarily be the best one, but the first one that comes to mind.
When I think about a slamming soundtrack, I instantly think about Space Jam.
Me too.
And then I think about For You I Will.
Oh, so I don't think about For You I Will. I think about the R.
I
Kelly
Believe
song.
I Can Fly.
Yeah,
But
I believe
are we
I can
allowed
fly.
to say his name?
The man, despite what, yeah, we ain't going there.
Yeah.
But I Believe I Could Fly. That is such a good, yeah. I mean, huh?
No, go ahead.
Yeah, no, that was the one that came to mind for me. Space Jam had such a good soundtrack, though. What about you, your boy? Oh, you already said, yeah.
My camera is not working, but Friday and Juice, probably my favorite soundtracks.
Not Juice. Oh, you took it back.
I'm talking about Rock.
I had that haircut.
By Nature.
Yeah, I had that haircut in first grade. Oh, that
Big Daddy Kane.
Yep.
This camera keeps messing us up. I guess I'm gonna be off the camera the rest of the night because this thing ain't working. It's keeps freezing everything. So.
But no, yeah, I think all of these are good. If you're in the comments, y'all.
Black Panther. God, that was amazing soundtrack.
It sure was.
Yeah. Go ahead.
But I was gonna say, if you're tuning in with us live, and you all feel free to put whatever you feel is your favorite song from a soundtrack in the comments, and let's talk about it. But meanwhile, if you want to pull up while we wait on that. Yeah,
pull up Logic.
Yeah,
I got you. So it's really easy to take any song and just break it down to stems. There are a lot of AI websites you can go to and do this, but if you already have Logic, right here, pull up. Hope this doesn't crash.
We I guess it's part of the culture. Then we're gonna talk about what about Set It Off soundtrack?
Oh yeah,
because they had what the Funky Divas in Vogue was on there with Don't Let Go, and then you had the Missing You that was on there.
Oh yeah.
Then we might as well talk about Love Jones.
Waiting to Exhale.
Oh, yeah.
They had Shoot sitting up in my room. Is Why Does It Hurt So Bad? I think all of those good ones.
Can we bring back soundtracks?
How about Booty Call? Put my hands up on your head.
Then we're gonna talk about Woo then with Jada Pickett.
What music was from Woo?
You have Foxy Brown.
All right, here we go. I have Logic pulled up.
It's always a hater, y'all.
So Logic is pulled up. Is this the? Okay, that's the okay. So all you have to do, let me find a song. Of course, I won't play it because we're gonna get demonetized. You go to music.
We got any of those AI joints?
Hmm.
What about AI music?
Okay, yeah, we can use the AI one. Let me see.
And again, we thank you all for tuning in with us tonight thus far for our 8th episode of the Shot Callers podcast. While your boy is pulling this up, if you do not already follow us, please follow us on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, X, formerly known as Twitter, under the Shot Callers Podcast. You can also follow us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and take us and listen to us on the go.
Okay, so I made this song on Suno for my brother, so I'll use this one here.
Okay.
Hopefully it'll break it. So right here, if you play the song. All right, Suno. Shout out to AI. So let's just for a little bit.
Yeah, he was the man from the land of ooze. Feared God, stay righteous, no cap, no fuzz. Had.
All right, shout out to AI. All right, so all you have to do is just go in here, stem splitter. So easy. Breaks it down to bass, drums, vocals, other split. Just wait a few seconds.
Is that a ukulele?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yeah, I just said add ukulele in there. Boom, it added it. And there you go. It has all the little clips for you, so you can play whatever you want me to hit play.
Wealth had fam, had a name in the street. Blameless vibes, had the game on repeat. But Satan rolled up with a deal to test. Said, yo, God, your boy ain't really blessed. Take away your shine, he'll curse your name. God said, go ahead, but don't touch his frame. From riches to rags, but Job didn't fold. Kept his faith strong, heart made of gold. Pain in his flesh, friends throwing shade. But Job stood firm, never walked away. Lost his kids, lost his crib, health took a hit. Boils on his skin, couldn't even sit. Wife said, curse God and just be done. He said, nah, I praise him in the...
Mute this thing. There you go. So yeah, so you can break it down to instruments. And this is how I create, like when I do those hype videos. So if I just want certain parts of it, or if I just want it to play, or if I'm playing actual audio from the football field, I like just mute the vocals or I just play something to continue the song without it overplaying the sound of the video.
Oh,
so,
yeah. A little metronome.
Yeah. So yeah, that's our Tech Talk Logic, where any AI website can break down these songs that you have into different tracks. And I have a little DJ mixer here, so you know I have to trying to get my little DJ on too. So. All right, that's it, bro.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So I think, tonight's pause that for me, your buoy.
That metronome.
Yeah. But no, tonight we really talked about the importance of the music. It is crazy. I don't know if y'all have seen this scene or not. But music really, like we talked about how, like, not only how it pushes the emotions, right, but how it really sets the tone for the film, right? There is this viral clip that is going around like on TikTok and Instagram, where it really is. It's like this super scary scene, supposedly from The Conjuring, and it talks about how music really changes and affects the mood.
Mm-hmm.
And the music in the clip, if you all want to check it out, we'll see if we can find it and stuff and share it later on our page. But in the scene, it is a scene where like where the nun, the character from The Conjuring, is chasing this woman, but they put this very happy, lucky music behind it, and it literally changes the entire feel of the scene. And so, like you were talking, I think you mentioned earlier about how like music really is used to help push the genre of whatever the sequence is. Like you could have like a horror movie and you put happy music behind it, it changes the whole feel. It now could be considered a comedy, as well as like, vice versa. You have like I've seen something that I thought, was supposed to be like a comedy, and it may have had some, horror music or thriller music. It really changes the tone for what it is. So I think like when you all were kind of on me earlier for being very meticulous with my music choices, but I think like that's essential because like the tone, the pacing, the melody for what you decide for your film will ultimately impact how it is received. The emotions that are received, uh, the feeling that is received, and also like the performance that is given by the actors.
Mhm.
Q, I like that you brought that up earlier when you mentioned about how when you were scoring the film, how you really paid attention to how the actors were delivering their lines and the dialect and stuff. I know I recently watched this interview. I know, we talked about Louis Grandison and how he was working with Michael B. Jordan, not Michael B. Jordan, but Ryan Coogler for Sinners in his films, right? And so it was interesting hearing his perspective in this interview where he was saying that like when they first start working, um, Ryan Coogler sends him the script.
Mhm.
And I know I sent you the script too, uh, before I started shooting because I like to kind of just get your input on different things. But that particular composer was talking about like how he can kind of start visualizing the different characters in the world through the script and kind of already going to it uh, with different instruments in mind and stuff. And I wanted to get your input on that too, Q. Do you feel
Mhm.
the same way? Like I know you read a lot of scripts from me and some other ones that I kind of like send your way, and I'm sure other people might have sent your way as well. But like
Mhm.
when you read something, not only like a script too, because we talking about Q on the music spectrum right now, but Q is also a author, and so yes, he has two published books. I'll let him plug those in a minute.
Oh Lord.
But like from you reading like like narrative style work, do you hear music when you listen to it?
Yes, almost immediately. But that also depends on what mood am I in. Because you can write, I'm free all day, every day on a piece of paper. But if I'm in a mood to not receive it well, I'm gonna hear I'm gonna hear elements of darkness. Um, and it can be something simple as, oh, I'm free. I got this for free. It just depends on the mood. But every time I read something, I hear music.
Mm.
Um, and it's all different types of music that plays. And what my mind does, it'll pick certain elements out of that song or out of the genre, and then it will piece it all together. And then mentally, I create a soundtrack.
Mm.
That's why I play so many different instruments. They all have different voices.
I think it's pretty interesting outlook and stuff. And so for other people who may be watching or listening to the podcast, right?
Mhm.
That they may play an instrument, they may not play an instrument, but they are interested in creating sound and music for films, right? I think like from me just kind of talking in the podcast, I kind of like, shared my perspective, but from you, someone who has actually taken the time to construct a score, what advice or even encouraging words do you have for that person out there?
Um, so the first thing I'm going to tell you is to never be afraid of your craft, never be ashamed of your artwork, because art is multifaceted. It may not be for this group of people, but it will reach someone. The main thing besides that information that I want to tell you is to find a concept, find a voice for it. So once you find that concept, or if you're a writer, once you find that theme, musician, once you find once you find those notes and the harmonies, stick with it and then build around it. So start with your melody and then build around it. That's how songwriters work. I happen to write those too. I write poetry. So you have to find that main concept, stick with it, and then build from there. Don't stir too far away from it. Don't go into it thinking that you're going to sound like John Williams. You have to give yourself time. You have to build to that. So give yourself grace and build. That's what it takes.
I think that's beautiful. All right, so we are going to soon. I'm gonna have you think of. We're gonna soon get ready to close out the podcast, right? But before we close out the podcast, your boy, do you have anything you want to do for Tech Talk? And then Q, we're gonna circle back around to you because we got final thoughts coming up.
And that was my TikTok, the logic.
All right, so you all tonight's Tech Talk was brought to you by Logic. We are not sponsored by them, but if you mention this to them, hopefully they will watch the podcast and sponsor us. All right, but coming back to Q, since the
Yes.
mic, the camera is still on you. Again, thank you for just joining us tonight for the Shot Callers podcast and just sharing your insight on music
Right,
and
right.
uh just the inspirational words and stuff. So each episode you tune in so you know. Each episode we like to end it with final thoughts where we share motivational thoughts or encouraging words. This is your you just shared some very insightful words, but this is where you dig deep
I've been doing that all day, but I'll do it for y'all. All right.
and you give the people something very poetic that can stick with them.
Oh wow.
And then we snap
Do we?
into the
Oh, I didn't think I seen y'all do that. Are you setting me up? All right.
your boy give him the camera full on real quick.
Oh God, really, Calvin?
Yeah.
What am I gonna do? Recite the lines from Lion King? No, Simba, you must not go there. All right. So something insightful and heartfelt. Um, how do you activate your mind? How do you activate your brain to get into a creative space? Some people call it finding your zen. Some people call it finding the voice that's within. However, what you have to do, what you ought to do, and what you shall do is understand peace. Peace is a part of you. Peace is what moves you. Peace is something we must all find. So finding that peace to put you in the creative space, to put you in the mood, that's how you're able to create not only a voice, but the music and the artwork that's within you.
What?
Really?
That was beautiful. All right,
Was it?
so me and your buoy are gonna go now. We have started going to Chat GPT for our final thoughts.
Wow.
And so glad that you came up with that off the top of your head. Your buoy, you wanna go first?
Sure. Cinematography, even the darkest frames hold purpose. Contrast that makes a highlight shine. Life dims the lights. Remember, you're still the director. The next scene is
Okay.
thanks,
That
ChatGPT.
All
Wow.
right. So my Chat GPT told me this.
No, it did not. ChatGPT did not say that.
No, so my Chat GPT said, every great film begins in silence, a blank slate. It's the choices we make with sound, music, and tone that breathe life into every frame. So whether you're composing a score or setting the mood with the perfect track, remember, emotion is the loudest tool. Use it wisely, and your story will echo long after the credits roll. Into the silence. But no, we thank you all for who have stayed in and tuned in and listened to us this far. We have had a great time tonight. Thank you again, Mr. Q, for coming on and just gracing us with your presence and your knowledge. And I love all the behind the scenes stuff. We wish you the best, and we can't wait to see your name in the rolling credits. Also, Ibui,
And my mic muted.
we are coming up close. We have been doing the Shot Callers podcast for 2 months straight, y'all. And we thank y'all for sticking with us. Please share, like, comment. Even after the video, we'll try to do better with our social media presence. But still, take us on the go. Listen to us later on Spotify and Apple Podcasts under the Shot Callers podcast. And if you are already doing that tonight or whenever you're listening to us now, we appreciate you. Your boy's gonna take some Claritin D, and he will be feeling a lot better next time. But no, until then, Thank you for tuning in to the Shot Callers Call podcast, where we call the shots and everything around it. Y'all have a good night.
Your boy, they waiting on who next.